Hello Magic fans, I'm Beef and this is an Historic Brawl gameplay video featuring Wylie Duke, Atiin Hero, a new 3-mana green-white commander from Outlaws at Thunder Junction. Wylie Duke is a 4-2 with Vigilance and he has, whenever he becomes tapped, you gain a life and draw a card. Because of this, his Vigilance is actually a bit of a downside, although not a massive one, because due to the fact he only has 2 toughness and dies to a paper cut, you don't really want to be attacking with him anyway, but you can get in if need be. It seems that he was designed with mounts and vehicles in mind. Mount is a new mechanic from Thunder Junction which works very similarly to vehicles and crew. Cards, for example, such as Fortune Loyal Steed, they are already creatures, unlike vehicles which start as artifacts, and they have saddle and then a number, same as crew. And then when you do something with that card while saddled, you get a benefit. For example, Fortune, whenever you attack with saddle, at the end of combat, exile in up to 1 creature for saddle of his turn and return those cards to your battlefield under your owner's control. So you can use that to rebuy an ETB trigger from one of your cards and rebuy that Scry ETB from Fortune. And all mounts have different benefits from saddling. The issue with building a deck purely around vehicles and mounts is that in a case of mounts, it's brand new, there's not that many of them, and especially not many that are fantastically good. I haven't put all the mounts in the deck from Thunder Junction because some of them I don't think are very good. And while vehicles have been around a lot longer, and there are more good ones to include, there's still not a massive amount of fantastic ones. And the problem I find with vehicles and mounts is because you've got to tap your card to get benefit from them, you're often not quite 2-for-1ing yourself. But with a vehicle, if you want to attack, you say you only have Wylie Duke in play, you tap him, you get the value from him, turn your vehicle into a creature and attack, but now you only have nothing on the battlefield to block with. So the way around that is to build around other ways to tap Wylie, and I'm calling this tap ramp as a way to tap your commander for mana, getting that value from him tapping, and then generating mana to do so. And that's what this first list is about. These are all cards that can tap Wylie to produce mana or cause Wylie to tap to produce mana. So Citadel Stalwart, Jaspara Sentinel and Cerulean Caretaker and Springleaf Drum all do the same thing. They all come down and they can tap themselves and then tap an untapped creature you control to add 1 mana of any colour. This is actually really good as well because you can tap something with their Summoning Sickness. So if you play your commander and you have one of these down, you can tap your commander straight away, same as any other creature. Cryptolith Rite is an enchantment. It gives all creatures you control tap 1 to add 1 mana of any colour. Catilda does the same with humans. And Wylie is a human and Catilda is a human herself. She can also tap, you can also pay 6 and tap her to put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control, which can be very powerful in the late game when you have a lot of mana. Relic of Legends can tap itself for 1 mana of any colour, and then you can tap an untapped legendary creature you control to add 1 mana of any colour. So you can tap wider with this. This is also very good if you have ways to untap Wylie, because this is a free way to just tap him repeatedly. Elven Chorus enchantment, you can look at the top of your library anytime. Cast creature spells from the top of your library, that's pretty useful, but the main one is creatures you control have a tap, add 1 mana of any colour. And then Ashaya comes down, is a big creature with a power and toughness, number of lands you control, but then non-token creature control of forests, forest lands in addition to other types, meaning Wylie Duke becomes a forest, meaning he can tap for green. Again, a way to tap for mana. Then we have the regular ramp. So Delighted Halfling, Elvish Mystic, Llanowar Elves, Paradise Druid, all creatures that can either add green or add 1 mana of any colour. Paradise Druid also has hexproof as long as it's untapped, which is very powerful, meaning it's not going to be removed for the turn you play it. Arcane Signet, everyone knows this, artifact to tap to add 1 of any colour. Then Ornithopter Paradise, very similar as well. Cultivate lets you put a land, search up 2 lands, put 1 into play, tap 1 into your hand. And Leyline of Abundance isn't strictly ramp, but it does allow you to, if you tap your creature for mana, they add an additional green, and then you can pay 8 to add +1/+1 to each creature you control. And if it's in your starting hand of the game, you can put it on the battlefield, which is really useful, especially with the amount of ramp we have. Next up, we have Protection. Staneskin Veil gives your creature hexproof. Lava Spur Boots, it's an equipment, gives them haste. Haste on Wylie Duke isn't that important, because I said you're not going to be attacking with him that often, but it does give him haste, a small power boost, and ward 1. Reprieve, a semi-counter spell. Return target spell to owner's hand. There will be able to cast it again, but you do draw a card. Rogue Intervention, all permanents you control gain hexproof and indestructible. Swiftfoot Boots is Lava Spur Boots on steroids. Your crit creature has hexproof and haste. You don't get a power buff, but hexproof is a lot more powerful. Teferi's Protection, all permanents you control phase out until the end of turn. Your life total can't change, and you gain protection from everything. Very powerful. You just need that one extra turn to do things. And then Mithril Coat's a card I've not seen played much. It's a 3-mana equipment that has indestructible and flash. And when it comes into play, you can attach it to target legendary creature you control, and a crit creature has indestructible, and it also has a equip for 3. This is a great way to whiff removal on Wylie, or if you want to attack or block and you have it in your hand, you can just fash this in to make him indestructible. Next up, we have Removal. Final Showdown is a new Spree card from Outlaws of Thunder Junction. Spree is a new mechanic that you can pay any of these additional costs to get that ability. So it costs 1 mana, one white mana all the time. So you can pay 1 generic to cause all creatures lose abilities at end of turn, another generic to choose a creature you control that gains indestructible to the end of turn, and then 5 to destroy all creatures. And it goes from top to bottom. So if you pay for all of these, all creatures are going to lose all abilities at the end of turn. That includes if other creatures have indestructible. Then you will choose a creature you own to get indestructible, such as your commander, or maybe one of your big hitters, and then it will destroy all creatures. So you will always, well, if you can pay the 7 it requires to give a creature indestructible and then destroy all creatures, you will always have a creature left. And it's an instant, which means you can play it at the end of your opponent's turn or on the opponent's turn, and you will be generally the first person then to be able to spend mana to repopulate the board. The issue with most sweepers is because they're all sweeper speed, you might spend your turn wiping all creatures, and then your opponent is the first person who gets to do stuff. This can be the opposite. Path to Exile and Swords of Plowshares exiles creatures. Bovine Intervention is a new card. I just quite like the flavour of it. But destroy any target artifact or creature, which is very powerful. And it can, controller does create a 2/2 white Ox creature token, but that's not that impactful. Throw from the Saddle, again a new card. Target creature you control gets +1/+1 to the end of turn. However, if it's a mount, you put a counter on it instead, and then it deals damage to a creature equal to its power. Archdruid's Charm. It's a bit of a multi-tool kit thing. You can search your library for a creature or land card. If it's a land, you put on the battlefield tap, otherwise you put it in your hand, then shuffle. You can put a +1/+1 counter on a creature you control, then it deals damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control, and exile target artifact or enchantment. I usually use it for that fight, the bite effect. It's really good at getting rid of opposing creatures. And then we have Depopulate, which is a 4-mana sweeper, but it says anyone who controls a multicolored creature draws a card, and as our commander is a multicolored creature, will most likely draw a card. Next up, we have the mount and vehicles. Seraphic Steed, it's a new mount. It's a 2-mana 2/2 first strike and lifelink, and has whenever it attacks while saddled, you create a 3/3 white angel creature token with flying. This is very good if you get down on turn 2, get your commander down on turn 3, he can mount it straight away, and you get in that attack and get a 3/3 angel. Mobile Homestead, it has haste as long as you control a mount. This is a vehicle from Outlaws of Thunder Junction, and when it attacks, you can look at the top card of your library. If it's a land, you can put it in the battlefield tap. So there's a bit of ramp as well. Reckoner Bankbuster comes in with 3 charge counters you can pay to remove a charge counter and draw. And you can also accrue it for 3. It's a 4/4, but it's mostly used for that draw function. Smuggler's Copter, a very powerful card. 2-mana 3/3 vehicle with only crew 1, so most of your mana locks can crew this if you need to. And then when it attacks or blocks, you can draw a card. If you do, discard a card. Unlicensed Hearse, it can exile 2 target cards from a single graveyard, so you can't split it between your opponent's graveyard. And it has power and toughness equal to the amount of cards exiled in it. Great against graveyard decks or reanimator decks. Fortune Loyalty, we discussed briefly earlier, but when it attacks while saddled, you can exile it and up to one creature that saddled it, and return those cards to the battlefield under the owner's control. Great way to rebuy enter the battlefields. For example, you can crew it with Titan of Industry to rebuy all those ETBs that the Titan has. Then we have Ordinary Tumblewag, a new mount as well. At the beginning of combat in your turn, you put a +1/+1 counter on target creature, which is very powerful. And then when it attacks while saddled, you can double the number of counters on a target creature. Congregation Griff. I think this is one of the best mounts in the set. It's only an uncommon because it's got flying with lifelink, and when it attacks while saddled, it gets +X into end of turn, where X is the number of mounts you control. So you can often get this up to a 2/5 or a 3/5 when attacking, and because it's got flying and lifelink, it's very hard to block, and you're getting a big mana swing each way. Mobile Garrison is one of the sneaky best cards in the deck, I think. So when it attacks, you can untap another target artifact or creature you control. So you can crew this with Wylie, attack, untap Wylie, and then get that value from Wylie again. And something about one of the big differences between crew and mount is crew you can do it anytime at instant speed. So which you need to be able to do because you'll need to be able to crew your vehicles to block. Whereas mount you can only do at sorcery speed. So if you have no other way to tap Wylie, but you do have a vehicle, you can just repeatedly crew that vehicle, even when it's already an artifact, even when it's already a creature. A Seeker's Chariot, again, a very powerful vehicle. When it ETBs, it creates two 2/2 green cat creature tokens, and when it attacks, you create a copy of a token you control. So it can crew itself with those cat creature tokens, and you can copy those tokens as well. Weatherlight, crew for 3. When it deals combat damage to a player, you look at the top 5. You can reveal a historic card. Historic cards are legendaries, artifacts, and sagas. So we have a few legendaries, artifacts. We'll probably get something from it and put it into your hand. And because it has flying, it will get in most of the time. Sovereign Console Flagship, very powerful. When it ETBs or attacks, it deals 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker. Bounding Felidar, quite expensive. It's 6, but when it attacks, you put while saddled, you put a counter on each creature you control. Then you gain 1 life of those creatures. So you can attack, even if you know it's probably going to die, but you can get a lot of value and a lot of life in it. And then Parhelion 2, which is really the big one for vehicles. Flying, First Strike, Vigilance. When it attacks, you create 2 tapped 4/4 white angel creature tokens that are already attacking. So essentially, you crew this, you attack, and you get 13 worth of power of toughness attacking. That is incredible. The next one is more about synergies. So Miriam's a new card. So it gives all your mounts and vehicles hexproof on your turn, and whenever they attack, they put a +1/+ counter on them, making them very big. Trelasara has great synergy with Wylie Duke. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on Trelasara and scry 1. So you can tap Wylie to gain 1, draw a card, then scry, and then you know if you be able to tap Wylie more than once in a turn, you know what card you're going to get, which can be very powerful. And she can just grow huge. I got up to I think a 20/20 in one of my games. Sting is also really good. It's an equipment. The equipped creature has +1/+1 on haste, which is not that important for this, but importantly, at the beginning of each combat, not just your combat, untap equipped creature. So you attach this to Wylie, and at each combat he can untap, meaning you can tap him to get his value again. Tome of Legends has a page counter. You get another page counter when your commander ETBs or attacks. Pay 1 and tap it, draw a card. Halo Fountain, another way to untap Wylie, and you get a green and white creature token. That's the one you're going to be using most of the time, but if you do have more tap creatures, you can draw a card, and if somehow you have 15, you can win the game. But a great way to untap Wylie as well. And if you can tap Wylie for mana, you can tap Wylie for mana to pay for the untap ability. Kutsil Malamet Exemplar, your opponent can't cast spells during your turn, very powerful. But then when 1 or more creatures you control with power greater than its base power deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. So, we have a few counters in this deck. So this is a way to draw cards from when those things deal combat damage to an opponent. And then Staff of Domination. I didn't have this in the deck originally. I originally had a new card called Omen Path Journey, which is a 4-mana enchantment that allows you to exile 5 land cards with different names to your library, and at the end of each of your turns you put one of those random lands into play, which I think is a great card, and I really want to play a bit more, but it was a bit too slow, and because it wasn't doing anything on turn it came down, so I put in Staff of Domination, which again lets you untap your creature and untap the staff, so if you have enough mana you can keep on going to get that value from Wylie. Guardian Project, just a great card in any green commander deck. Whenever non-token creatures enter the battlefield under your control, it doesn't have the same name as another creature you control or creature card in a graveyard, you draw a card, and it won't because it's a singleton format. Roaming Throne comes down, it doubles the triggers of a creature type, so it comes down, you choose human or ranger, but you have more humans in the deck, which is what Wylie is, and then whenever it does become tapped, you will get 2 of those triggers. And Virtue of Loyalty is another card I didn't have in the deck originally. I had Augur of Autumn, which lets you play creatures and lands to the top of your deck, but this one, it's a 5-mana enchantment. At the end of your end step, put a counter on each creature and then untap those creatures. So again, another way to untap Wylie to get those triggers. And then we just have the kind of top of the curve but good stuff, Smothering Tithe. Whenever an opponent draws a card, they may pay 2. If they don't, you create a treasure token. They're drawing at least 1 card a turn, so either they're going to be 2 mana down or you're getting a treasure token. Elder Gargrowth, I think, is just a great card. 5 mana, 6/6, Vigilant, Reach, Trample. When it attacks or blocks, you can either create a 3/3 green beast creature token, you gain 3 life and draw a card. I think if I'm playing a commander deck which has green in it, this is always going to be in it. Koga the Titan Ape, 6 mana, 7/6. When it ETBs, it fights a creature you don't control, so a good way to removal. And when it attacks, it destroys a artifact or enchantment, and you can return a human you control to its owner's deck, and Koga does gain indestructible. A human you control to its owner's hand. Koga gains indestructible, and our commander is a human, so we could do that. Amiri is cool. Play as a land, which more often than not we will, but otherwise it's 7 mana to create 4/4 white angel creature tokens with flying. Then non-angel creatures you control get indestructible until your next turn, not until the end of your current turn. So the turn you play it, you can attack with indestructible, and then on your opponent's turn you can block with indestructible. Titan of Industry, 7 mana, 7/7 with Reach and Trample. When it ETBs, you can destroy a target artifact to enchantment. Target player gains 5 life. Create a 4/4 green rhino creature token, or put a shield counter on a creature you control. It's a great way to get back into it if you're falling behind. You can destroy some really troublesome artifacts or enchantments, gain 5 life, add another creature to the board. As I said earlier, if you saddle Fortune Loyal Steed with this and attack, even if the Loyal Steed gets killed in combat, it will still exile the Titan of Industry, and then it will come back so you can get those ETBs again. Turn Timber Symbiosis, again another modal land, but its front faces pay 7, look at the top 7 of your library, put a creature card from among them into the battlefield. If a card's mana value 3 or less, add 3 +1/+1 as counter to it. Great way to get through your library and maybe pick up another big creature, such as Crater Behemoth, 8 mana, 5/5, haste. When it enters the battlefield, creatures you control gain trample and get +X/+X on end of turn, where X is the number of creatures you control. This is basically the finisher. You'll end up having a lot of creatures, a lot of mana dorks, and you can get +10/+10 with this, or even more. And if you can crew some of your vehicles beforehand and make them creatures, they will get the buff as well. Then the Great Henge is 9 mana, but that generic mana is reduced by X, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. Tap it to add 2 and gain 2 life, a great way to get life. And then whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, you put a counter on it and draw a card. Really powerful, this can get through your deck if you can get it down early. And because Wylie Duke does have 4 power, it means that just by having your commander out, this will take this down to 5 mana, which is a lot more affordable. So a mana base is pretty standard. A lot of dual lands, a few creature lands, Prismatic Vista, which lets us get any land as well. Cavern of Souls, put it down on human, make sure commander uncounterable, which can be really useful. Delighted Halfling can do the same. Just be careful with auto tap. I have played my commander with Delighted Halfling on the field and it hasn't tapped it, and my commander's been countered, which is very frustrating. So that's the deck. just before we go on the gameplay, I say if you are enjoying this, please remember to like and subscribe. It does wonders for the channel. And yeah, without any further ado, let's go on to the gameplay. And we're up against a Lyra Dawnbringer deck. We go first. I'm not sure. We have got Springleaf Drum, but we don't have any other creatures. So I'm going to take a mulligan. I think this looks better. We paid like half in on one. It means we should better get our commander on turn 2. So Lyra, an angel deck, depopulate might be quite handy here. Won't be able to get Wylie Duke out on turn 2. In that case, I will just play Emiria as a tap land. Let's go that Wylie Duke and see what happens. Next we'll play Ornery Tumblewag. That way at least we can get a counter. We should still be able to saddle the Tumblewag, even though it is tapped. What do we want to do? I'm going to saddle it, just see if we hit a land drop. We do, but it does come down tapped, which is annoying. I'm not going to play anything else out because next turn I'm going to depopulate. Hopefully they play out a few different angels. Oh, I don't play out any angels. That's frustrating. A way to remove Lyra would be good. Will do. At least this way. We can get down an Elvish Mystic. They can play Lyra straight away, which is annoying again, but without another way to remove it. How the Ornal locked up. Resolve. And then play out. Play out the. How many much mana do we have next turn? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We can play Titan of Industry next turn, which will be good because it can block the Dawnbringer and probably destroy maybe console, authority of the consoles. So they've got Platinum Angel in their graveyard, which if they somehow reanimate it will be an issue. So let's get down Titan. We need the 5 life. We might put a shield counter on the Titan. Let's get our Weatherlight back. Do you have Teferi's Protection? They've got something. Well, that's annoying. It will make their Lyra unlockable. But what we can do play out Fortune, hopefully survive the turn. No, and no. What we can do, this is Fortune and Industry Titan of Industry survive, is saddle Fortune Titan of Industry, attack, it will bounce, flicker the Titan, and we'll rebuy its ETB. Fortunately, the Weatherlight is going to have to chump though. What we'll do, we'll play out Smothering Tide while we get us some mana. And then fortunately they can kill it, but we can get our Titan. Oh no, that's interesting. Well, they are going to come back tapped. We need the life, and I'm going to destroy that console. Keep the other Garter off, that's pretty good. And we'll play out the Ashaya as a big 8/8. $14-14, sorry. And we can do that again with the Titan. Even though I'm sure they'll block Fortune this time. I'm okay jumping with the Ornithopter. I'm not sure why they scooped there, they're in a much better position, but Well, I'll take it. On to the next one. Up against a Balmor, which will be an Is It Spellslinger deck. It'll be quite quick and powerful. Bow on intervention would be quite good to kill their commander. So while we have no ramp, which is annoying, I think this is a keep. Tumblewag. Crack the Folly Strand, and we'll get Dual Land, and we'll shock it in. One click it. That way we can get down the Herd Whisperer. We'll give our Tumblewags, give our Tumblewag Hexproof. Take out their commander. They will be able to rule play it again, or not. And I did punt there. I could have saddled the Tumblewag with Miriam, doubling the only one counter, but didn't need to in the end. Great, on to the next one. We're up against an Urza deck. So this will be artifacts, I think. No ramp. But we can get down Seraphic Steed and then Wylie and hopefully crew it and get that angel. Yep, so I'll keep this. I wonder if they... I'm sure they'll have Might Stone and Weak Stone, so I'm sure they'll try and merge it. Not sure what's taking them so long. Final Showdown can be good to save one of our creatures, have a commander from removal by giving it indestructible. Also be good to make creatures lose all their abilities. There's that 1 mana ramp. So we'll saddle straight away, gain that life, draw that card, attack him. Well, clearly they were impressed by the value. Maybe their hand wasn't as good as they thought it was as well. But anyway, on to the next one. Up against a Kaervek the Punisher. This might be the new crime one. Yes, whenever you commit a crime, you can exile a black card from your graveyard and copy it. If you do, it costs you 2 life. Wow. What is it with no ramp? Well, we do have Cryptolith Right, which technically is ramp a bit and Miriam, but Cryptolith Right also enables us to tap a commander whenever we want. So I'll keep this. We can get a tap land down, turn 1 scry. Archdruid's Charm. Yeah, it lets us fight. See what they take. They took our 2-drop, which is one of our 2 drops, but if we get the 3 mana, we can fight that, or 3 green, and a creature, obviously. We want to do. Tell you what, I'm going to get this down. That way, when we play Wylie Duke, we can crew and get some immediate value. Give us a good crime enabling creature, because every turn it can exile something from your graveyard. And then through the Smuggler's Copter, draw that card, swing in. We will draw a card, yes. And we will get rid of. I want to try the Omen Path Journey. Might be a bit slow though. The next turn we'll have 6 mana, so I can get down the Titan Ape, which will take out. Get rid of the Garrison. Won't have 6 mana. And get down this. And I won't attack with Smuggler's Copter. I will wait just so if they do attack with the Deep Cavern Bat, we can crew it and kill it, but I don't expect they will. If they do something, at least I can crew it instant speed. They're tapping they're holding over a lot of things. I am fine with trading for the Smuggler's Copter. Get rid of planes. Play this on green. So what I think we'll do, we'll come down, fight the Deep Cavern Bat, and that way we still have Source of Pouches up if they play a commander, and we have a big creature on defense. Yep. So get down the prairie, it's tapped, but I think this is going to be a pretty good turn. I'm going to cause him to fight the scavengers. Play out Relic of Legends. And then you can both get in. You can destroy Tiny Bones. And we'll end our turn. And we'll tap Wylie Duke for mana just to get the draw. Block one. So Roaming Throne. We will choose. Wylie Duke is a human. Just double checking. One, two, three, 4, 5. I will play Miriam. Because of the Roaming Throne, when we tap Wylie Duke, should get 2 triggers. That land, and I think, yeah, Fish doesn't get a scoop. There we go. Crater Hoof Behemoth is generally end of the game. But yeah, good value there from Roaming Throne on humans, so get 2 triggers from Wylie Duke's triggered ability. Because Lord Skitter, so might be a Crying deck, but we'll see. No ramp. No ramp. Well, we have ramp, and we have a couple of things, so I will drop the Weatherlight. The Paradise Druid is it has hexproof when it's untapped. Dressar is a good draw. It grows whenever we tap Wylie Duke. Path to Exile is a good draw as well. Let's get down the Griff. I will Heart of Exile Graves. I'm not a big fan of that card. If they want to do that, that's fine. They don't get the ramp, but probably not the best idea. Congregation Griff does have Vital. Cavern of Souls on Human. Then what we can do is we'll play Trelasara, play Wylie Duke, saddle the Griff, outgains the life, and Trelasara will grow. No, I'm okay with that. Block another land, and then we'll swing in. That is pretty good. Keep that. Just take out the grip. Ooh, the grips are annoying, but never mind. We can play the Chariot. And then I'll get down the Caretaker. And again, mount the Griff. Go life and draw and swing in. And we can use the Chariot on defense. That's odd. Oh, right. Oh, that's... Oh, that's a blowout. We'll lose Wylie Duke, Paradigm Druid, Smoke Token. Oh, everything. Should have left mana up for Teferis Protection. That would have been, well, we'll get a... It really matters. Forest. Get down Wylie Duke. But I feel this game is probably over now. Don't think of another land. There's not another land, but it gives me a way to tap Wylie Duke. Artifact Iara. They must have a way to remove the Weatherlight. So it's going to do that. And probably have a way to remove the Weatherlight. No. Get down piles of heroes. I'm going to wait a turn. I feel like they've got something bad coming. I would quite like that spree card again. Or at least to depopulate, that would be quite good. See what we draw. I'll just sack it to draw a card. So this does give me a way to block Massacre Girl and gain life. I really needed to depopulate. Oh, I only have... Oh well. They're at 41 life. I'm not sure why they really felt the need to block that. Just to get me down. 2 more life.
Servants, your court will volunteer. Rise and shine.
If I played the pathway on white earlier, this would have been a very different ball game at the moment. Oh, I don't have the free white for that still. Oh. Frustrating. Can't believe I only had 2 white mana. I suppose the issue with Cavern of Souls and Plaza of Heroes can be used for certain types. Anyway, on to the next one. Tatyova, so a ramp deck, which we don't have any of course. I'm going to keep it. It's not ideal since you only have a tap land. I'm going to keep that with even more land. Catilda can cause Wylie to tap, as well as Sentinel Stalwart and Seraphic Steed. They get in just a breeding pool, fair enough. I'm going to play the Stalwart because then on the next turn we can play Wylie and then tap it for value. Assuming it survives. Blue-green shouldn't have many ways to kill it. You might have some fire effects, but they do seem to be stuck on the land, which for a landfall deck is not great. We will get. We're going to get a green. Oh no, we'll get a Temple Gardens. Pay 2 life. Well, if we get down Kogla and attack with it, we can destroy that. And we're not massively far from doing that. Play that. Play Elven Chorus, because that is again a ramp. And then we will play Katilda. And then yeah, next turn we should be able to get down Kogla. But they are stuck on mana, which again for a landfall deck. So we have 7 mana. We can get down Kogla and the Caretaker. We can fight that. There we go. We'll slam this. Play the Caretaker. And then next turn, Kogla can attack, take out the Frogify, shoot it still around. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, they were stuck on 2 lands for a couple of turns, which, seeing as their entire deck is around, getting lands out and getting value from them, that's not good. Wasn't good for them. On to the next one. Against Gishath, so a dinosaur deck. We do have ramp, only 2 lands, so hopefully we'll draw more. But yeah, we won't be able to get out Wylie on turn 2 unless we draw a 1 mana dog. But that's a pretty good draw. Play down the Caretaker, which is a better blocker. And we do have Path to Exile for their commander. They've got something sticking. I imagine lightning bolt or a sword. Yeah. Oh, that's annoying. Oh, I should have played the planes first then, so I could have then tapped Wylie Duke straight away. Final Showdown's always good. Do with one more, a bit more mana. But I do have 5 at the moment, so I can play the Great Henge. So I've got what, 4, 5, 6. So they're away from, a bit away from getting a City's Blessing. Opponent's getting a bit salty. Yeah, I'm fine with taking that. another white mana. Get another plains. We'll get out the homestead and the garrison. No attacks. If I have a way to take out Wylie Duke, then we can give it indestructible. Yeah, I'm fine with that. The problem is Rampaging Frostodon means you can't gain life. So I'm just going to take it out. So what we'll do is crew the garrison. Keep Katilda, even though I'm probably going to wipe the board soon. See, I know it's not a land, but attack with the two vehicles, and I will untap Wylie Duke. Yep, I know it's not a land. I'm going to keep Teferi's Protection up. Because if I have a land, they can play Gishath. That's a big boy. So I'm taking 8, but I can get that's pretty good. So I have 3, 6, 8. So I do have 10 mana, and they have 3, 6, 7. So what I'm going to do is crew the garrison. See what we draw. Do with another land. Get down Sting. Attach Sting. Have on defense as well. And we have all our goodies up, and we can tap Wylie Duke again. He's saying your go when it's in fact his go. don't need that. Or that really, but never mind. So we'll play out Leyline of Abundance. We will crew that again. Play out Weather Lights. And then what I want to do resolve that. Do want that. And then we can untap that. And then tap it again. And then we can put that on that. Take out the Brontosaur. Brontosaur, sorry. And obviously now it doesn't really matter if they chump the garrison, which they do. We have a 14-14 on defense. They are going to gain a ton of life from the Verdant Sun's avatar, but that's okay. Do that again, just a bit more value. Ooh, Parhelion's really good. Play out that and do this again. So we have 8 mana, so I can play Parhelion. Don't really need that. It will crew. Don't need land. Play out that. Just to make it a bit easier, so we can't cast spells. Let's tap that instead. Untap Wylie Duke. Swing with the Weatherlight. See what we get. Nykthos is pretty good. And we'll play out a Delighted Halfling. Now we have Parhelion on defense as well, which is pretty good. It's got First Strike. And the only thing on my untapped board that can't crew it is a Delighted Halfling. It's fine, I have a 17-17. They're going quite wide. don't need that. A Crater Hoof would be quite good right about now. Play Nykthos, which gives us all the mana we need really. Nope, don't need that either. Let's crew Parhelion. Go through control again. We will crew the Weatherlight. Swing in with Wylie Duke as well. So we have the Mithril Coat, so if they do block it, then we just give it indestructible. And let's yep, that's good. We'll then I wanna there we go, pretty good turn. Play out our loyal speed. Roman Throne's always fun. On human. Discard 2 land. And I do believe we got lethal. We'll just crew Parhelion and attack with the Angels. Although I expect they're probably going to Salty Rope. You see it quite a lot with people who give it the Salty Your go when things don't go their way. They're not happy. Got through 40 cards in our deck, they only got through 19. So we managed to draw an extra 21 cards than they did. This really goes to highlight the value of Wylie Duke. You know, it's not a commander that's going to kill opponents by itself, but with ways to tap it at least once a turn. And yeah, you see at this time, you know, we had one of our vehicles could untap it. We have Sting attached to it, which untaps it each combat, and then yeah, it just snowballs. It's played just for an 18-18. We will crew with Wylie Duke. No. Still looking for that Crater Hoof. But yeah, this will be lethal. Just attack, attack, attack. Even that's overkill. I think this match really showed the power of Wylie Duke. Getting us back, we were quite low at one point, I think, and getting us back into it, and that combo of him and Trelisara just getting +1/+1 counters multiple each turn, and then roaming throw right at the end. It was a bit overkill at that point, but you could see getting gaining 2 life and drawing 2 cards from each trigger, and we were getting 2 or 3 triggers a turn. So it's just too much value for a lot of other decks to maintain with. Hello Magic fans, and welcome back to the wrap up. My thoughts on Wylie Duke is he is a really powerful commander. The value he can provide can be incredible. You'd have seen in some of the games, I think in the last game especially, there were times I was getting like 3 triggers from him a turn. I was using him to crew Mobile Garrison, then Sting would untap him and begin combat. I could tap him again with something else, Mobile Garrison would attack, and I could untap Wylie Duke, and then I could tap him again. And if you're drawing 3 cards a turn and gaining 3 life, more if you've got Roaming Throwdown, which will double those, you're just ripping through your deck. I think the biggest issue is, I think a lot of commanders have this, is that fine line between the ramp/enablers and the payoffs. We need a lot of these tap ramps in the deck so that we can reliably tap Wylie Duke for mana. And there are a few times, I think I said, where there might be times where we can play Wylie Duke, but there's no point playing him because we have no way to get value from him. And sure, if you have nothing else to do, you might as well play him. But if you just play him, you're not going to attack him probably, and the opponent can just remove him. And that's when we need these in there to get that value from him. But then a lot of the mounts and vehicles are not on the small side, I'd say more on the medium side. And if you're up against like a 6/6 commander, or someone's ramped out a massive creature, and you don't have removal in your hand, then you're not going to have many things to block with, because our top end, the big things that we don't have a huge amount of them. But because he does draw you cards, and he can draw you a lot of cards, you're probably going to find something. But there are just games where you just can't find what you need, or you play down your Citadel Stalwart thinking, well, okay, when I get Wylie Duke, I can tap him immediately for value, but then they remove your Stalwart and you don't draw any other way to tap him, and those games feel pretty bad. But when it goes off, I think it really, really goes off. As I said, ripping through your deck and finding what you need. You're probably going to find a removal at some point. You're probably going to find one of your big boys at some point, or a way to stabilize. Something like Parhelion, which comes down. It just having 5/5 in the first strike makes it a great blocker, and then if it attacks because it has vigilance, you can just attack whenever you want, and it's going to generate those tokens, and you're probably going to win unless your opponent has a board wipe. But then maybe you can reprieve that board wipe and they can't play it again. But so yeah, very powerful. Had a great time playing it. Might have a few more tinkers to see if I can optimize the deck a bit more. Maybe put in a few more untap synergies, because he only really had Sting and Mobile Garrison. And then Virtue of Loyalty I actually put in after I recorded the gameplay. And so I want to see how that and stuff with Domination work out as well. Not sure what I'd remove. Maybe Kutzelv Manamet Explorer. It doesn't, while we do have a few +1/+1 counters, not a huge amount of them, so half of its text box isn't really relevant. Your opponent not being able to cast spells during your turn is helpful, but only really useful against counter spells, because even though someone can't remove something on your turn, they can just remove it on their turn. So, and maybe some of the regular ramp, maybe something like Leyline of Abundance. It's great if it's in your opening hand, because you can put it on the deck for Battlefield for free, But if you can play it on turn 4, chances are you want to play something else on turn 4. And then if you get it late, chances are you don't need that mana much. So maybe that. But I'll have a think, and then if I do tinker with it, maybe I'll update this video or release another one. But thank you all for watching. If you have enjoyed it, please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.